What's up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Bands You Should Know. It's been a while, right? But if you remember, the last time I did one of these, we talked all about a UK thrash metal band called Slammer. And you know what? I had such a great time over in the UK, I thought I'd hang out for a little while longer here. And so today, we're going to talk about a UK noise rock slash metal slash sludge-y kind of band. They're hard to categorize, and that's part of why I love them. Today we're going to talk all about the band Fudge Tunnel. So, Fudge Tunnel. They formed around 1988 in Nottingham, England, and they, like I said, are kind of difficult to categorize, but for the most part, for a dude like me back in the 90s that was really into metal, I'd throw them into the metal category, but they could easily fit in with bands like Sepultura or bands like Fugazi, bands that they both played with throughout their history. And so that's kind of why I like them a lot, because they don't necessarily fit right into the metal genre, but metalheads like me can totally dig them. But I remember when I first heard them, it was kind of what I really wanted to hear at the time, because I was into metal, but I was also into like the alt rock kind of thing and the grunge thing and a lot of the noise rock bands. I was into all of it, and it was nice to finally hear a band that kind of just splashed down right in the middle of everything, and you couldn't really categorize it, but it was fucking heavy. Anyway, so very early on, the band released 2 EPs, and we'll talk about those a little bit later, but we're going to kind of focus on the albums because their first 2 EPs are really great, but really when they came onto the map in a big way was with their first full-length LP, Hate Songs in E Minor. This was released in 1991 on Earache Records, and it is just, it's hard to explain. Like I said, it's heavy, it's got really fucking loud guitars, got a lot of noise, it's a lot of moodiness, it's kind of a melancholic aggression, if that makes any sense. Because sure, it's heavy and it's energetic, but there's also something under the surface that's kind of ugly and doesn't necessarily fit. And part of the reason why, like I said before, I got into this band is because they didn't really fit anywhere. I always felt like, metal was a circle, and I was kind of a smaller square that just happened to fit into the circle, but didn't quite fill in all the edges. And, that was me, and that's also Fudge Tunnel. So, let's listen to a clip of one of their songs. So yeah, you can hear a little bit of Melvin-y type stuff in there. So there's definitely a bit of the grunge, a bit of the metal, a bit of the noise, but it's just fucking great, heavy, loud shit, and I love it. Anyway, here's the back cover of this album, and if you look at the very end, "Sunshine of Your Love," that is a cover of the Cream song, and they actually released a music video for that, and that's probably the first time I heard them, but it didn't really register with me right away. The album that would really register with me was their second full-length album, Creep Diets. This album was released in 1993, also on Earache Records, and when I first saw the music video for the song Gray, it just totally blew me away. It was exactly what I wanted to hear around that time, and I loved that song so much. The first time I ever played out live with a band, we covered Gray. That's how much that song meant to me and was influencing the music that I was wanting to make. But this album, it turns up the groove element a little bit. There's still that noise metal element. It's still very loud, very aggressive, very odd, which is absolutely perfect. And you can't really see like a lot. There's song titles at the bottom, but that's the back cover. But when it comes to the song Gray, here is a little bit of a mystery that I have, that if you can help me out there, I'd like to unravel this mystery. Or if there's any members of the band that happen to watch this fucking video, maybe you can shed some light. So in my memory, when I first saw the video for the song Gray on Headbangers Ball. This is obviously in America. The video, from my memory, had the dudes playing in some sort of old ancient castle that was abandoned or something, some sort of castle-like ruins or something. It was a legit video with the dudes playing. And now, if you do any kind of search on the internet for the music video for Grey, it's a totally different video, which has like live footage that's kind of grainy and weird, and there isn't a real like production element to it. And I cannot find that original video that I remember from back in the day. So my question is, am I insane? Did that video ever exist? Did anyone else see that version of the Grey video? Or, I don't know. I don't really want to know that I'm insane. I kind of have an idea, but I don't know. It's so stuck in my memory that I'm like, that's got to be a thing. Anyway, back to talking about creep diets. And actually, let's not talk about it. Let's listen to a little bit of the song Grey. For me, this album hits all the marks. This is my favorite Fudge Tunnel album. It's right smack in the middle of the sort of noisy stuff they did on the first record and the more metallic stuff that we would get to on their next release. It's right in the middle. It's a perfect mix. Like I said, it was everything I wanted to hear at the time. And also, this album coincides with one of my biggest regrets in the world, and that was that I did not go see them when they came on the tour for this album. And that tour was Sepultura, Fudge Tunnel, Clutch, and Fear Factory. This was in 1993. I think it was 93. It might have been 94. Either way, I didn't go to that fucking amazing show. All of those bands at that point were all bands I was pretty much obsessed with. So, yeah, it's one of those things that I almost want to forget that tour ever happened. Anyway, Creep Diets, fucking amazing record, very important record in my life. And like I said, they start to get a little bit more metallic on their next release, so let's move on. The Complicated Futility of Ignorance. This one came out in 1994, and like I said, it is the most metallic. There's more of a metal element in here, more so than their other two albums. And also, when it comes to like songwriting, it's probably the most focused and the most sort of, I don't know, it's the most direct approach of their kind of songwriting of any of their albums. It's probably the most polished version of their odd brutality, and arguably it's their best record. I mean, it's not my favorite of their records, but there's a strong case for it. Let's listen to a little bit. So yeah, this is their heaviest album. This one was actually produced by Alex Newport, the guitar player and vocalist, and that sort of leads us into what happened with the band. Soon after this album came out, the band split up. There's not a lot of information on why, but you know, musical differences, getting tired of being in a band, you know, those kind of things. I totally get it. But Alex Newport went straight into being a music engineer, producer, and he worked with a lot of artists and on a lot of albums that I thought were really fucking good. And that's kind of what he does now. He was in another band called Theory of Ruin, which I also really like, but that's way more on the noisy rock side of things. There's no metal going on there really. And then the other two guys, I don't really know what happened. If any of you know, let me know. Are they still playing in bands or anything noteworthy? I don't really know. Unfortunately, Fudge Tunnel was not this big deal, especially in America, when they came out. So once they split up, that's all she wrote. You didn't get a story about, you know, where are they now, because, you know, how many fucking people love this band? I mean, me, but, you know, maybe a few of you out there. Anyway, so like I said, they were a band that came out at the right time, making the kind of noise that I really wanted to hear. And so that will forever make them a very special band to me, because I still enjoy all of their stuff today. Oh, also, if you are into them and want to hear their first couple EPs, they put them both out on this, which is a compilation called Fudge Cake, which, like I said, has their first two EPs on here. And those are a lot more on the noise rock side of things, way less metallic than they would end up becoming, but they're both Really good EPs. Like I said, everything this band put out is fucking great. Oh, and why didn't I mention Nail Bomb? Okay, so a lot of you who may not know Fudge Tunnel that well, you probably know Nail Bomb. Nail Bomb was a side project that Alex Newport from Fudge Tunnel did with Max, and I think, did Igor play on that too? Anyway, from Sepultura. They put out one fucking fantastic album, and then, that was pretty much it. Recently, Max tried to go on tour and play Nail Bomb songs, which I was like, nah, dude, let's not do that. Because, Alex Newport was not involved, and it seems like you're missing a huge piece of the whole thing there. Anyway, this is not a Nail Bomb video, but that's a good album to check out also. So normally I would tell you, hey, go out to your streaming service of choice, Apple Music, Spotify, and listen to the band I'm talking about. But guess what? Fudge Tunnel were on Earache Records, and Earache has pulled all of their, I think, everything from that they put out from streaming services, which doesn't make a lot of sense. I guess I get it, but to be completely honest, these days Earache Records is putting so much time and energy into rehashed blues rock crap. They may just not be very in touch anymore. They may not be the groundbreaking, boundary pushing label they used to be. But you know what? Back in the day, they put out some good shit. Anyway, I also won't rant about that. I'll just wrap it up by saying, go out on the internets and search Fudge Tunnel and listen to whatever you can find, because it's all great shit, and they are another band you should know, and now you do. Thank you for joining me. I will see you all again very soon.